Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 1002. So, yeah, we're really kicking off into full gear here. Things are really getting started in this battle. Like, obviously they've been going for quite a while, but it's like it's getting more intense, it's getting more exciting. There's getting to be some phenomenal god-level animation, which is always great. And it's just like, where is this going to go? Like, is this just going to be like a straight up like war, like Marineford style for the next whoever knows how long? I don't know. I don't know what to expect going forward. Like, I don't know like what's happening currently in the manga, for example. And I think that's like, what, 40 chapters past 1,000, I think, something like that. 30 or 40 chapters past 1,000, so about that same amount of episodes, approximate, past where we're at. So it's like, it's not technically a lot, but considering it's one big battle, one big war, it's like, that's still a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I'm just wondering, like, there are a lot of moving pieces in this battle, though. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people fighting. So there's a lot that can happen. Yeah. I don't know what to expect. One thing to note. Last week, I talked about how there should have been a new opening. Like an actual new opening. Starting after episode 1000, or even on episode 1000. And that we are in desperate need of a new one. Well, after I recorded that last week, it ended up being announced that there's going to be a new opening. I think it was on the same day I recorded it too, funny enough. The new opening is going to debut on the first episode of 2022. I don't know what that equates to. Maybe 1006? 1005, 1006, maybe 1007. I don't know. Something like that. Somewhere around 1006. But there's going to be a new opening. I heard that the name of the opening is called Paint. I don't remember who the artist is. And I know nothing about it. And I definitely wish for that to remain. I definitely want to see the opening, like, as it debuts without any knowledge of it beforehand. But it's really cool that we are getting a new opening, because it definitely is the right time. Honestly, I think we should have still gotten it with episode 1000, or at least 1001, like after the 1000th episode special opening. But at least we're getting it, you know? At least it's coming. So there is that. Also, as you're watching this, if you notice, like, the light, like, almost looking like it's pulsing in time in the background, like, especially, like, over here on the wall, you can kind of see it. This is why. Christmas tree. The Christmas tree has pulsing lights. I don't know if you can actually see it that well on camera, but yeah, we put up our Christmas decorations and stuff. So we got a new tree with pulsing lights. I think there's actually different settings you can put the lights to, but that's what my dad set it to. But yeah, so that's, if you notice, like, that in the background and everything, it doesn't seem to be affecting, like, me, like, it's not showing on my face or anything, but it looks like you could see it in the background, like, especially over here, Like, you could see it brightening like it just did right there, and then going dark again. I've just... That is the reason why and everything that all of that's happening. Just letting you know ahead of time. But all of that being said, I am very excited to be getting into this. I'm very excited to get to another episode, and I'm hoping to enjoy it just as much as I have been enjoying the series lately. So let's get into it and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, Diaz Drake tries to ally with Luffy, and while Luffy seems to accept it, he's just like, yeah, if you want to do that, whatever, I don't care. It's like, I accept it. Just don't get in our way, basically. Zoro, Jinbei, Frankie, they're all not as trusting. They don't believe him. They don't trust him. They see the fact that he has betrayed Kaido and everything now as like a troubling thing. That if he's betrayed Kaido, he could easily betray them as well. And again, as I said in the reaction, yeah, they're not wrong. And they're not wrong to think about that. It's a very valid concern, especially when the Straw Hats have a couple of times already had issues with loyalty within their group. Usopp betrayed Luffy and the crew at Water 7. And he had to apologize and own up to his mistakes to be welcomed back. Zoro, especially in that time, was very heavy against the idea of Luffy just accepting Usopp back all willy-nilly. And then there was the entire thing with Sanji during the whole Cake Island arc. Sanji very much betrayed the group and even straight up attacked Luffy. And although the crew recognized that he was hurting and that he was not doing this out of a desire to betray them, but felt forced to, it's still another example of a time when a crew member has turned against them. And hell, you could, even with going back to Water 7, you could even technically count Robin in there too. Even though, again, it's the same kind of deal with with Sanji and Whole Cake. It's like, they recognized Robin wasn't, like, truly against them or anything, and they understood that there was something else going on. But still, they've had multiple crew members show or break trust with them on occasion. And so, yeah, they're going to be... It's going to be hard for them to just accept someone, especially someone who, up to this point, has been an enemy to them, who has been working with the very crew that they're trying to take down right now, the very emperor they're trying to take down. So this guy just comes up, says he wants to be their ally all of a sudden, say he's been kicked out of the Animal Kingdom Pirates and all, and it's like they're just supposed to trust him. It's like, I get their distrust. It makes sense. It's valid, honestly. But I also do believe fully that Diaz Drake wants to ally with them because he does want to take down Kaido. And we know the reason. We know it's because he's a Marine and everything. And we know he only wants to ally with Luffy and them specifically because of his conversation with Kobe. He trusts Kobe's judgment and seen the passion and honestly love that Kobe has for Luffy. He definitely, he gets it. And so he wants to ally with the crew, with the Straw Hats, because he believes that they will be able to take down Kaido. And he wants to be a part of that. So I honestly do trust Diaz Drake. I very much do. if this did somehow end up being a big ruse, that would be one hell of a twist, because I really don't think there's any evidence that it could be at this point. Um, but moving on, this episode is another example of an episode that has a really weird choice for the title. Like, the title is like saying like Ulti and Nami, a new rivalry, and it's like, when did that happen in the episode? Like, Ulti and Nami had almost no interaction. And the only reason Ulti is upset at Nami is because of Usopp. It was a very short scene compared to everything else that happened in the episode, and had no real relevance to almost anything. Like, it would have made a lot more sense to name this episode after Diaz Drake. Or hell, even naming it after Scratchman Apu would have been more logical. But Nami and Ulti acting as if they're like some big rivals, like they were going to have some big fight, or like have some like smack talk against each other or something. It's like it didn't happen. That just was not the case, just blatantly. So I don't know what the deal with some of these episode titles have been, but it's like you might need to work on that a little bit, Toei. But at least I guess it's not spoiling the main content of the episodes, since they're some of these titles are just talking about like very minor random stuff that really doesn't have as big of relevance as the title would suggest. Um, yeah, it's odd. But yeah, Scratchman Apu, speaking of him, is back. He's been gone for quite a while. He was kind of just taken down for a bit, and it's just like kind of forgot about him. It's like we knew he was there, I guess, but it's like he just kind of reappears in this episode, and it's like, oh yeah, you're still here. I almost forgot about you. It's because he was just gone for so long that it almost feels like he was almost forgotten about. It's not like with like Yamato, who has been absent for a few episodes now. Um, it's not like that, because it's like it's only been a few episodes, for one, and for two, that one is like Yamato, I guess, just doesn't really have as much to do right now. Everyone else is involved in a fight. Yamato is more involved in allying with Shinobu and protecting Momo, which is still important, but it's not as huge of a thing to showcase during all of this action. So that makes sense. But then Scratchman Apu is just like he just kind of disappeared. It's like he was kind of like defeated in that one fight, and then he's just gone for quite a while. That was like at the beginning of really all of the action, when everything really started getting dicey and all in all of this, and now he's here again, and proving to be an issue for Zoro and Drake, who both hate him. But fortunately, it allows them to ally. Zoro, who was the most distrusting of Drake, which again, very fairly so. As I mentioned, he was the one who had to convince Luffy not to just accept Usopp back all willy-nilly back in Water 7/Enies lobby. So it very much makes sense that it would be Zoro who would be the least trusting here. And Zoro very much runs by codes of ethics and a certain standard. So it also makes sense in that regard. So seeing the fact that he just agrees to ally with Drake just because they both hate Scratchman Apu is fucking hilarious. It's just such an unexpectedly easy way for Zoro to end up accepting him in the end, that it's really funny. And I kind of love it. But it also fits. Like, it definitely feels like it fits. Scratchman Apu is just that hateable. But in all honesty, I do enjoy Scratchman as a character. I think he's funny. I think he's enjoyable. His devil fruit is really legitimately interesting, and leads to some creative fights. And I'm glad he's getting more screen time than what he's had in the past. Um, so that's pretty fun. I can dig it. So we find out, though, there are also exactly 10 members of the Numbers. We've seen 3 of them defeated so far, and a 4th one is brought out by Apu, who chases Frankie away while holding one of the other already defeated Numbers. So that means there are 6 Numbers who are unaccounted for and could continue to be a potential problem in the ongoing battle. And considering we see how strong these Numbers are, that's gonna be an issue, especially with them sober, because they'll probably be stronger and more composed than obviously when they're drunk. So that's gonna be an interesting issue to cover going forward. Luffy and Sanji are meanwhile trying to continue heading toward Kaido. Who knows how that's gonna go? And the episode ends with Queen shooting these ice bullets at the samurai. And at first they don't seem to do much. Like, they're not even like really deadly fatal wounds or anything. But then something happens, and the bullets start to freeze the samurai, like their entire bodies, which is like, okay, that there's something more to these. They're not just bullets made of ice, which is kind of what I was thinking at first. No, there's something more to these. They're actually like freezing these people. And Diaz Drake seemed to know what they are, but it ended before we could find out. So next episode's going to be interesting to learn some stuff behind that. I wonder exactly which other focuses we're going to have, which other characters we're going to focus on in this one. Are we going to see the Minx? Are we going to see Yamato again at all? Are we going to see Nami and Usopp still dealing with Page 1 and Ulti? There's a lot of different options here. And there's still a few members of the Toby Roppo who really haven't gotten a moment to shine yet. Like, Who's Who hasn't really had a moment to shine, and Sasaki has been kind of chained up for a good portion of time. So there's still quite a bit that they haven't done yet. A lot is going down, and there's still quite a bit going on. So it's going to be interesting to see where all of this goes. And it's just a week by week thing at this point. It's just like this war is happening. It's just like with Marineford. Though honestly, when I watched Marineford, the series was already past the time skip when I got to that point in my initial watch through of that point in the series. Because technically my initial watch through was the 4Kids dub. Then I watched through all of that portion, basically up to the end of Alabasta, again with the Japanese, and that's when I went up to Marineford and beyond and all. So technically my second watch through, technically. But when I was going through that, it's like it's kind of the same thing. Even though I wasn't watching like necessarily week to week, I could like watch as many episodes at a time as I wanted. Still, it's like a lot of people I can imagine going week to week on Marineford. It's just like, oh, a little bit happens here, and then you have to wait a week to see what happens there as well as anywhere else, and it's like just a lot of stuff happening, and it's just so intense and so nail biting that you're just week by week waiting to see what happens next, what they cover next, and all of that. But this is bigger than Marineford. Like, that might even be an unpopular thing to say, and I'm not just talking in the length of the arc or anything. This battle, this war at Onigashima, is a bigger deal than Marineford. again, that might be unpopular because a lot of people will feel like, oh, but Marineford was like pretty much everyone we had met up to that point dealing in this big war between pirates and the government and everything. And it's like, yes, but this involves an emperor. It involves multiple of the worst generation. It involves the Marines, technically. It's pretty much all sides facing off in what is this grand, massive scale epic that just has more to it than Marineford honestly ever did. And I'm not, and it's nothing knocking on Marineford. Marineford's awesome. I've rewatched it again recently because of Rough Senpai's reactions when he was reacting to it. Although he's in Punk Hazard now, but point is, it's like I've rewatched it lately, and it's still very good, but this is definitely bigger, and this isn't even the presumed mega war that's going to happen at some point that Oda has hyped up, saying that, like, it's going to be like the biggest conflict in all of One Piece. It's like this isn't even that, so I'm very excited for when that happens eventually, but I'm loving this. Like I've mentioned before, Wano is my favorite arc 100% at this point. I'm just excited to see where it goes and how it eventually ends. Like, what are they going to do from here? Are they actually even going to defeat Kaido? Because Big Mom wasn't defeated last arc, so who knows? Who knows? We'll take it as it goes, though. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of One Piece, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.